Thank you for clicking to the Brim. I am your host, Moises David Rivera, here at the Brim. And today's episode is a special episode for me because I have the honor and privilege to interview and speak with my beautiful wife. Bree, say what's up. Introduce yourself to the viewers and listeners.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yes, I am excited. I believe this episode is going to speak a lot to us and to a lot of listeners and viewers. I believe you have a lot of wisdom to share and impart with us. First off, I want to just jump off the gun and just ask you this question that I'm going to ask every single individual that I sit with and in this chairs in this room. And it's this question: who are you?
Who am I? I don't know. Who am I? You tell me. No.
You're beautiful, amazing, and my beautiful.
You're so sweet.
I would sound like those corny people that say "Stacy wife," but I'll be like, classy wife. No.
Classy wife.
Who are you?
Yes, so I am Brie. I'm a redhead Latino-Americana. I'm God's daughter. I'm a daughter of God. I'm a wife to Moises.
Shut up.
Yes. Mom to Princey, Prince David.
Baby boy P.
Yes, love him. And then, a daughter to Brian Dina, sister to Kelsey, Ross, and Perla, and a friend to many.
A friend to many. I want to ask you a question. So, obviously, you're my wife. You are a daughter of God. You're the daughter of Dina and Brian, who happen to be our senior pastors. Who did you aspire to be? Right? Growing up, everybody had role models,
I didn't.
You didn't have one?
No, I don't think I did.
That's probably like a first time. I'm pretty sure if you're a viewer and you're listening to this and you didn't have somebody you looked up to or aspired to be, put it down in the chat.
There has to be other people.
There has to be.
I honestly can't think of one person that I was like, I want to be them. No.
That is real, and I love that.
No.
Yeah, because I literally,
Who did you want to be?
You made me look crazy. I was like,
Who did you want to be when you grew up?
I never wanted to be Bible man.
Bible man.
No, that's great.
I don't think I had anyone.
You never had that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
Wow, that's good.
Wow.
Because people usually have role models and idols they look up to. That tells me that your parents did a good thing raising you, that they made you be proud of who you are and becoming who you want to be. It was up to you. That's good. That speaks a lot. I unfortunately wanted to be superheroes that weren't a realistic person to be, but that's good. So who are you is a daughter, a wife, a mother. Mm-hmm. So for a lot of the listeners and viewers that are watching this, To the Brim is a podcast that I'm asking individuals, and this happens to be my wife, questions about doing things to the brim, doing things in excellence. Maybe a lot of the viewers and listeners don't know who you are and what you do for a living. So can you tell us in a brief statement, what do you do for a living? Who are you? What do you do as a career? Mm-hmm. And what do you do for a living?
Yeah. So career, I am a financial analyst / accountant, you could call it. So lots of spreadsheets, lots of detail-oriented work. I love it so much. Living, what I do for a living. I love spending time with my husband and Prince. We have so much fun together, like just us three. It's so fun. Like, I don't know if anyone else thinks this, but like sometimes I feel like a lifetime here on earth like isn't enough together. Like, it seems so short. Like, it's not just like, you know what I mean?
No, I know. Yeah, I live with you and I travel with you. You love to spend time.
I know, and I'm like, it's just not long enough. But then I'm like, okay, thank God we have like heaven and stuff.
Bree, my wife is a person that will schedule a day on a weekend with so many events because she wants to spend every single second that she's breathing with people and enjoying her time. So that's
living is spending time with you and Prince, spending time at my parents' house, spending time with friends. I just love being together. Yeah,
I agree. The reason why I ask this question is you guys might wonder what is he talking about career and living, is because I want people to understand that a career is not what you do for a living. What you do for a living is how you enjoy the life you have. What you have is a career is what you do that supplies income for you. So a career, it could be anything: real estate, investors, accountant, lawyers. That's a career. That's something that provides income for you. But what you do for a living is how you enjoy the life you have. And yours is to spend time, make memories with families and friends, which she's really great at it. When it comes to vacations, I go, where are we going? Let's do it. Sometimes it's kind of borderline, not my type. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes I have to, not sometimes I have to honor your preferences, which I don't mind.
Special, like you can't take a birthday, a moment, a weekend for granted. Like
so you say you're a financial analyst, accountant. How did you get in that field? Was it something you always wanted to be as a kid? Is it something that just popped up? Were you a college student like many of us and we're like, I don't know what I want to major in? You just, meeny, miny, mo, accountant is the one I'm trying to go. Like, what was it like?
No, I don't even know that I knew what that was growing up. I think I heard of it, but no, I had no idea. I wanted to do ministry. When my parents brought me back from the mission field, that was kind of the first time I thought about it. We moved back from Bartlesville from Mexico, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have to do whatever I can do to get back to Mazatlan. I love it so much. My whole life is there. I've got to become a missionary and get back. Excuse me. Yeah. And then I got to college, enrolled in college. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to do the college thing. Like my parents always taught us to like keep doing school, like finish high school, go to college. It's just kind of what you do. But I went to a college where there were other options, not just a Bible college. And I was like, okay, I think I heard something about international business. I was like, okay, maybe this can help me get back to Mexico. So I went to like one of those info classes or like sessions, and I met a professor, and he was just immediately like telling me like, hey, remember, ministry is everywhere you go. It's not just Bible school. Like he said, ministry's in everything.
Wisdom.
And and we need people who love God in the business world. So I was like, wow, that was like a huge revelation for my life, that like, okay, I don't have to just go to Bible school, do this path to be in ministry, but ministry is literally in every single person's life. And so that's how I got into accounting. Another professor, both of them I love dearly, and they spoke so much into my life. I get to see them sometimes now, but another one told me like, hey, you should think about accounting. And so I switched to that, and he was like, with accounting you can do everything. I mean, every single business needs accounting to function. So that's how I got into accounting.
I like that. Let's feed into that part where you said a professor spoke into you, and he said we need more Christians or believers in the business field and workplaces. What was that revelation for you? Because a lot of people could hear that and be like, oh yeah, but I'm called to be a prophet, or I'm called to be this. So what was it like for you when you heard we need more people in the business community? We need more people in the business atmosphere. We need more believers with morals and values that align to what our faith talks about. What was that like for you? Was that like a light lit up?
Yeah, I think it just shifted my perspective. Like, okay, ministry doesn't look one way. I was like, okay. It shifted my whole perspective for life, really. Like, there's purpose in everything I think that's kind of when my whole journey with like, there's purpose in every single thing you do kind of started to like grow in me. Like, okay,
that's so good. I like that.
You wake up and do every single day, you can find a purpose in, because you do everything as unto the Lord. So whether you're sitting at a desk on spreadsheets or changing your kid's diaper, like every single thing you do, you can bring him glory in, because you're doing it as unto him, and he honors that. It's a spirit within you. So
it hit you, you're like, every single thing I do is an opportunity to glorify God.
Yeah, so that's when I started pursuing that.
One of the things that I love about your story is that your dad worked in the oil field, your grandfather worked in the oil field, and you work in the oil industry. And I think that's like a cool God wink, how God says, I'm going to take care of what your grandfather and your father sold in this industry. And I think it's super cool because he's using you as an instrument of righteousness in a business field without you having to be preachy or like John 3:16, God so died the world, God Jesus, like you're like, I'm going to show that I'm a follower of Christ by the way I handle my business, which speaks volumes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think that they have to be like preachy or like share a verse every day or like tell a coworker like about God. Like obviously there's opportunities for that, but more than those opportunities ever in my career, there's been more opportunities just to live a God-honoring life in front of people. And I think the way you live your life speaks way more than any verse or message you could tell somebody. One of the things I realized just working is like, everything you do, you can do with excellence. Like, it's honoring God. It's a spirit. And so, a spirit of excellence, like being an honest coworker, like, hey, when you make a mistake, admitting to that.
Wow, that's
out.
big.
Loving people that others might label as, oh, they're difficult to work with, but just shutting down negative comments in the workplace, being that light of like, no, like, let's bring the positive to this workplace. Let's love everyone. Let's be inclusive. Let's take time and listen to a coworker. Yeah. So I think that, what was the question?
No, you're good. You're actually going really good because it's leading into being the light in the business place.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Is that I shifted the question. No,
like, preachy, but it's just the life you live, like, speaks so much more. God's going to give you opportunities to speak specific things to people, but the life you live speaks so much, and like, God places you around others to be that light, and they'll see it. It will rub off on them. Like, yeah.
And I apologize if I confused you.
No, got confused.
No, I apologize because I literally asked you one question, and then that question about your career led to another question about not being that preachy coworker or being that preachy individual that wants to just the wrath of God or the grace, like you just live out.
Just let Him use you.
Live out your faith. Yeah.
Honor God in everything you do, and your morals, your values, your decisions, and
will flow from it. Will flow from it. I love what you said because I remember one time you came home, you had a mistake at work and you were freaking out, but God's grace was there.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, I can't believe I did this. And then you were like, oh, wow, I actually didn't do a big of a mistake I thought it was. And I think it's because you live such a gracious life that you reap grace again. Because the Bible tells us whatever you sow, you will reap. So if you live out a life that is centered in God, and that doesn't mean you have a John 3:16 shirt and you roll your eyes at people who don't have the same belief as you, but you just love people genuinely, I think you reap that. So I definitely see that from your testimony.
Yeah, just be real, be honest. Like, I remember having that split millimeter second in my mind, like, what am I going to do? Am I going to hide it? Am I going to say it? And I was like, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to do it. And it turned out
that's so good
to be fine. But yeah, honor God in everything. Don't, when you're really you and don't hide things,
pretend.
Like, it's so freeing. Yeah. You don't
Which reminds me,
you
y'all, when I tell you that my wife generally loves and authentically cares about people, that is her through and through. One of the things when I first met her, and I just got done telling this earlier, one of the first things that I when I first met her, one of the things that caught my attention was the way she loves. And she doesn't love like that surface level love or that pretend love, that Christian smile love that is just good on Sunday, but when you get in the car, you're going to curse at your spouse. No, she genuinely loves. And for when we were dating or talking, or we were just friends, but in my head, I knew I was going to marry you. You know what I'm saying? But we would hang out and I would just study her, like, to catch her slipping to see if she's in a fake love, right? But she's generally, y'all, the definition of love. That's why when I say she's the example or physical evidence of God's grace to me, is because I have seen her live out this life, real and authentic testimony of love. So I want everybody to watching this to know that you're not putting up a front right now. You're not putting up a front on Sundays or throughout the week, or you're not just saying this because this is the right thing to quote unquote to say, but this is generally her. And that's why I have you here as my first guest into the Brim, is because I believe you have qualities, principles, and values that I believe people need to hear and practically apply to their lives if they are struggling in any area of their walk or life. So that leads me to this. Has there ever been a moment where your heart was placed in the wrong hands? And I know the answer to this, but I want the listeners, I want the listeners and viewers to hear that testimony and that story. Has there ever been a moment in your life where your heart was placed in the wrong hands? Share me, tell me about that.
Yeah, so it was, so it was when my parents moved back from Mexico, we came to this area, and I was just so devastated. Like, I was heartbroken. I was like, what am I doing? As I mentioned earlier, I was like, what can I do to get back to Mexico? And that's when I had a Skype call back. Anyone remember Skype?
Shout out to Skype.
I had a Skype call with a friend back in Mazatlan. You met her, Gabby, in Mexico. And I told her, I was like, hey, my heart is broken. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to be in Mazatlan. I can't be here. And that's when, like, she brought up a passage from the Bible and showed me. She was like, listen, like, what has happened is you have left your heart in Mazatlan, and you don't have it in God, and He wants you to give
Come
your
on,
heart
so
in his
good.
hands. He wants your heart in him, because he's going to call you to many places in different seasons, and you can't leave your heart every single place you go. You have to always have your heart in him.
That's
and
so good.
Right from then, that moment on shifted in my life from like, okay, God, my life is yours. Like, it's always going to be in your hands. You're going to call me different places that I may not understand, but I'm going to go because my heart's in your hands. You know the best plans for my life. And so that kind of shifted that heartbreak from leaving Mazatlan to the rest of my life of, God, wherever you call me.
And that shows, like we talked earlier, that shows the power in community, like having people in your life that are going to speak life to you. Because somebody could have been easily derailed you from God's will and be like, just come back, tell your parents that you can live here. But she was like, hey, you need to stop putting your heart in places and in people's hands, and you need to start putting your heart in God's hand. And I want to speak to any of your listeners watching this. If you're in a heartbreak, or you're in a situation where you feel lost, broken, tired, burnt out, give your heart. Not partial, not half, not just a little bit, but give your whole heart to God and say, God, here's my life. Here's everything I have. You have a lordship over my life. Take control of everything. And I promise you, just like your friend Gabby told you, and you said, wow, it makes sense. Give your heart to him. Yeah.
I feel like it applies to every situation. Like, you can never have your heart like in a person or in a thing or in a career, because you're always going to ride that roller coaster.
Come on.
When things are good, they're good. When things are bad, they're bad. But when your heart's in him, it's steady, it's safe, it's secure. He guides you, and then every other area of your life flows out of that. So
and that's something like in our marriage we practice.
Like we both have to each love God and have our heart in him, and then that makes our love for each other so much better. Because Bree, I could fail you any day. You could fail me any day. But when it's my heart is in God, like,
you trust him.
It's God. Yeah, it's God. My love for Mo is from God. Yeah.
So your love flows from God to you, to other people. Yeah. So the overflow. Come on, that's good. Girl, you about to start preaching in here. I love that. I love that. So what was a to the brim moment in your life? When was a moment that you said, I'm going to start doing things? One, y'all, she is a planner, organizer. If you go through her phone right now in her notes, she has things that she has in her checklist to do since 2018.
I know that I haven't taken care of. I really
that doesn't mean she procrastinates. That just means she has a long to-do list.
I can't check them off until I do them.
And she won't check them off unless she does them. I
really need to go drop my wedding dress off at the cleaners to get the spray tan out of it. That's been on my to-do list since we got married.
Y'all.
Need to take
True story.
To get cleaned.
But guess what? That's one of the things that I love about my wife. One of the things that I admire, and I'm like, God, why didn't you wire me like that? Is that you are a planner, organizer, and literally doer. Whatever she sets out to do, she's going to do. It's almost like if she says she's going to do it, choo, the train is coming, it's going to get done. So whenever it's like clean up the house time, chore day, she says, hey, I need you to do this. Choo, the train is coming, get to it, because she is not no procrastinator when it comes to her to-do list. What an amazing testimony and example you set out for my son and I. I love that about you. I want you to know that I admire that about you. A lot of people might think it's too weird or whatever, but I love the fact that you embrace and do things with excellence in that area, that you literally have a to-do list and check everything out. What made you be like that? Was it something you learned? Is it something you just discovered? Or is it your walk with Jesus? What made you, just for the listeners watching and hearing, like, because I started doing that. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but I come home with sticky notes. Matter of fact, To the Brim happened because I started writing things down, because I'm like, my wife writes things down and she does them. Let me start writing them down and doing it. So I started making lists.
I got my list.
So I was so where did you learn that? Where did you pick that up? Is it a principle that you just...
No, I think it just began with like journaling with God. Like from a little girl, like I would just journal with the Lord. Like I would just write my prayers out to him. Like I liked praying, but I liked writing out my prayers because it was like talking to him, communing with him. Like, God, these are the desires of my heart, but also I want your desires for my life. Like change my desires to your desires. And so it just began like, I guess from that point of journaling with the Lord to then writing prayer requests down, and then I think that transformed into every other area. Like, okay, writing lists down. I guess the list just came from my personality. I don't know. I like being organized. I like
I
doing
love
things
it.
well. I don't want to forget something. I don't want to say I'm going to do something and then forget
On the
about
way
it.
here, I was like, I need you to tell this person this. I need you to tell them this. I need you to write it down.
Yeah.
Because I knew if she writes it down, she's going
That
to
means
get
I'll
it
do
done.
If I don't write it down,
And if I don't see her write it
never
down,
had
I
the
just,
intention to do it.
yeah. And if I don't see her writing it down, I know she's just saying yeah because she's thinking about the rest of the to-do list. But I love that. Like, that's amazing. And that's like, I believe that's like a to the brim thing. I believe that's like a principle that we could apply. Write it down. If you're going to do something, hey, write it down. What does it hurt you to write it down and look back at it? Look back at the fact that you wrote something down you said you were going to do and knock it out. Do it. Do it. Why not do what you set out to do? What wakes up Bree in the morning? What transitioning from a to-do list, what wakes you up in the morning? When you wake up in the morning, what gives you that drive, that sense of purpose? I know before you mentioned something about a gift when we talk about this. What wakes you up? What about that gift of purpose that you have in your life? What wakes you up?
Yeah, I feel like just that revelation of like everything I do has purpose and it's for the Lord. Like every single thing I do. That's what fills me up to go to work, to go to the things I have to do. Like it just, when you know the purpose you have in it, like you wake up with that purpose. Like today is the day the Lord has made.
Come on.
And he has a plan for today. And so once you have that revelation, I feel like it shifts everything. So that's what gets me up in the morning, is knowing that like, okay, this is lists help me, calendars help me. Like this is what I have set to do before me, but also knowing behind each of those things, like why is it that I do that? I like to put things like, okay, this is what I do right now in my life. Like I'm an accountant, I'm a pastor's wife, I give my gifts and talents to the church in this way. I like having like my whys of what I currently do.
That's
and
so
why
good.
I do it. What's the purpose behind that? That way when I'm doing one of those tasks, I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I do it, because the Lord's told me to do it in this season. That helps give you that purpose for that day.
So you would say a principle you apply in your life is knowing the why.
Yeah. Write everything out that you feel the Lord has like kind of put under your umbrella of responsibility this season, and put the why you're doing it, because I promise you, ministry, loving others, loving God, loving people is in every single thing you do. It's not just pastors or missionaries.
That's good. I want any viewers and listeners to do that after this video. Write down an umbrella and write down your whys, why you do what you do. Prioritize the list, write it down, and why you do it. It'll keep you waking up in the morning feeling purposed. I love that. Knowing the why. That's so good. That's why I see y'all. She was nervous. Like, I have nothing to say. I don't know what to say. Yo, I'm telling you, she has so much wisdom. And I'm like, every time I talk to her, the way she sees things. And that's why I brought you here, because I want people to hear that wisdom you carry. I think we're so often so busy, and you're often doing things behind the scenes that people don't see the side of you. So I have the honor and privilege to do life with you, so I get to live with it. I love that.
Love you
so
much.
what wakes you up is the purpose, the why God has called you for this. So I got a question. So what do you prefer? Excellence or perfection?
Definitely excellence.
Why excellence?
Yeah, because excellence is a spirit. Like, I'm going to do this with excellence. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. It doesn't have to be perfect. None of us are perfect. We're okay to make mistakes. But an excellent spirit is your heart posture. Like, I am doing this with a purpose.
Come on.
To bring glory to God. And therefore, I'm going to do it well. Whether it's my job, whether it's my kid, whatever it is, like, I'm going to do this well, because I want that excellent spirit of walking with the Lord, of bringing glory to Him. So yeah, definitely excellence over perfectionism.
And so do you aim to do everything with excellence, right? It's not just
everything I do, I want to
good.
do it to the best. Like, I don't want to do anything half.
Come on. What is one way a listener, a viewer, or myself could apply in our life? What is a good reminder that I could give myself to do things in excellence? What should I
feel like once you know that purpose behind what you're doing, that fuels you to do it well. Because if it's something that you're like, why am I even doing this? You'll kind of just like half do it, you know? But like when you know like this has a meaning, then like you want to give everything to it. Because like just like following the Lord, like I just want to give Him my whole life, whatever He calls me to do.
Ooh, that's so good.
And so therefore, if it's bringing Him glory, like I just want to give it all to the Lord. Like I just want to do everything with like that excellent spirit. Like I just feel like knowing the purpose, your why, then fuels you to do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, so fueling your purpose with the why will have you doing everything with intentions.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. Why you go 110 and everything.
Oh, thanks.
No, real talk. Like, I want people, like,
You're too sweet.
I'm not trying to, listen, I ain't trying to get no brownie points. I'm literally, you're making more sense to me as we talk about, like, because I always was like, God, like, you know, like, you wired her different. She's like, she does everything pretty cool. Like, I'm like, and I'm over here, like, I'm like a cast vision, but you organize the vision. And that makes so much sense is because you don't do things halfway. Like, you just, you do it with the purpose and the intentions, understanding you why. And that's what leads you to excellence. That's so good. So I want any viewers or listeners to know that if you want to do things with intentions, know what the purpose is, know the why, and execute. Don't procrastinate. I have this question that I want to ask you. What do you rely on? Habits or discipline?
I definitely, I don't know.
It's deep, yeah.
I feel like I rely on habits because, like you always say, what we've been talking about recently is like what you do consistently, like you always do. So I definitely feel like I have a lot of habits that I rely on, both good and bad. Like a lot of habits that were instilled to me from a little girl from my family. I feel like those are good. Like I carry them on into everything I do, and they're just natural. Like how I react to a situation. Like I'm gonna love people. I'm gonna believe the best. Like I just have those natural habits. But then I feel like this year I'm getting into discipline. Like, and I feel like it takes discipline to be able to create those new habits. So, yeah, like with my health, with working out, like I don't feel like getting up in the morning, but I'm gonna do it until it becomes a habit. So, yeah, and then again, like recognizing if there's a bad habit, like try to break that. But yeah, what you do consistently, you do all the time. So I feel like I'm a habits girl, but it takes discipline to get new habits.
That's the right answer. Discipline creates habits that show the results you want to see. I like that. One last question. I want to ask you to give a piece. What is one piece of advice you've been giving that you will always give to other people? What is one advice that you were given that you want to give to other people?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, just having the revelation of like, I think I heard it one time in like a message or a podcast. I don't know, a while. Like, I don't remember what age I was when I learned this, but learning the concept of like love, like loving the Lord your God with all your heart, loving others as you love yourself. Like, whenever you just mind your own business, don't worry about what other people are doing. Like that frees you up to love other people without expectations. Like they can make any decision and like that's their life. Like I don't have to worry about that. I just have to worry about what Bree's called to do. Like that's so freeing that I only have to worry about like what Bree is called to do.
So give your heart
God. So mind your own business and love people with everything. Don't love with an intention. Like I don't text my friends, hey, what are you up to? Give me this update of your life. I miss you because I'm trying to get something. No, I genuinely love and care. And so loving the Lord your God first with all your heart shows you that love of having your heart in him. But then loving others as you love yourself, you have to love yourself as well. Like knowing your purpose, knowing God created Bree. Like I'm not in competition with anyone. Like God loves me so much. I have every single person has a gift and talent, and recognizing your gift and talent and owning that with confidence. And then when you love yourself and love God, you're able to love others for who they truly are and go for the long haul, like through different seasons. Like you don't have to have those hard moments when you just mind your own business and love others for who they are. So it's really three things, those three love parts.
Love with God with all your heart.
Yeah. Love others as you
love others as you love yourself. And mind your business. So listen to that piece of advice. Give God your heart. Love others as you love yourself. And mind your business and live with Jesus. I promise you those three pieces of advice, principles you could apply to your life.
So freeing.
Are freeing. Simple, you will be set free. Yeah. It's true. Simplicity is the answer to your life. Simplicity is the key that opens the door to your life. Live a simple life, a quiet life, minding your business, and I promise you, you will always be at peace. Don't look to your left, don't look to your right, don't look back, don't look. God is for you. Who could be against you? He loves you. Give him your heart. Thank you, babe, for joining me for the second episode, my first guest here into the Brim. I love you. I'm grateful for your wisdom. I'm grateful for the life we get to build together. I'm so thankful that you did this. Came out of your comfort zone
Love you
for
so
your
much.
boy. I appreciate you. Remember, share this video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below, give us some feedback. Can't wait to read them. Can't wait to hear from you guys. Thank you so much. And remember, to the brim, doing things in excellence will produce a foundation where failure and success are equal. It doesn't matter if you fail or succeed. What matters is your heart posture when you do what you set out to do. Stay blessed, stay encouraged. See you guys next week. See y'all.